You're not the boss of me.
I am, actually. Just so you know.
It feels weird not wearing my fez, bro.
I don't have my bougie ass fucking fez.
I got the finest gemstones from Joanne's clearance section.
Look at us, Dapper.
Have to put Datum Grotto on the map.
Dapper Dan's. Not Danny. Danny's not Dapper.
I'm fucking super dap.
Your shit is crooked as fuck.
Yeah, yo, how do you grotto?
Not fucked up.
Then you ain't doing it right, my brother.
Welcome to the Fourth Part Podcast, a podcast made by Freemasons to be enjoyed by all. The opinions of the hosts are their own and do not reflect any Grand Lodge stance or policy. And now here are your hosts, the grumpiest past master and the OG Danielson. Welcome to the Fourth Part Podcast. I am your host, the grumpiest past master, and with me is my heart attack of a fucking partner.
The OG Danielson. That's
and
my
our
Instagram
two,
handle.
yeah, no, that's enough.
Done.
We don't want to hear from you.
Done.
You're done. The OG Danielson.
No respect.
And our two special guests.
Brother Just Jimmy.
Prophet
Just Jimmy.
Brother, Prophet, Noble, Jonathan, Maldonado, Connect
Companion.
Companion, Connect Lodge 838.
Sir Knight.
Sir Knight of the Commandery and Patrol, and brother of Alsani Lodge, number 695 OM.
What's our location
Look at
right
us.
now,
We
by the
look
way?
awesome.
Brother Maldonado, who made this all happen?
Who made this all happen?
Yeah, the location.
The Grand Architect?
No, you did.
Oh, silly goose.
Man.
Oh, yeah, so we're here live in Sayville.
Appreciate you.
Connect Lodge 838.
Yes, thank you to Connecticut Lodge, even though we're all probably going to get yelled at because we told them like in 2 seconds that we were going to do this.
It's all good. We'll be fine.
I mean, come on. We're all having fun, so.
So why do we have these silly hats on,
Oh,
Matt?
my God. I don't know.
Hats.
grumpy?
It's
Just
fez.
found
Yeah,
them
we
on
do.
the side
Why are
of
they
the
called
road.
fezzes?
I have a hat on.
Morocco.
Yes. We're going to have brother Michael LaRocco on soon, and he could probably give
No,
us
he
some
said Morocco.
Oh,
I said Morocco. I did.
I thought he said LaRocco.
I did. If you check the Facebook Datum Grotto page, thank you to our. What's your actual name?
We wouldn't know because
What do
he's
you
not
mean?
wearing his fez right now.
Yeah, I don't have my fez. I left
Thanks to
it.
the
Gags.
Monarch.
The Monarch.
Or
I'm the
whoever
Monarch.
has access to it. Posted a brief essay that I wrote up on
Yes.
the grotto and the history of the fez from Morocco.
I don't need the fez, man. I'm the logo right now.
You know what? I'll throw it up. I'm going to throw it up real quick. I'll put it up on the...
please.
Yeah, I'll pop it up. It'll be great. Makes you want to vomit.
You got the Makana and the Masiana.
What does data mean? Can someone explain to me
Ooh,
what
that's
data
Matt.
means?
Well,
I think
Matt-
that they
well,
might want to know that.
I have no
Matt
idea.
came
I
up
just
with the
made it
name.
up.
I approved it.
That is,
Wait, so no one knows this name?
no,
at all?
no,
I know what it is. I
I
came up with
actually-
it. I
I
came up with the
asked
whole...
Yeah,
Danny had no idea.
I asked Danny like
It was all
2
good
weeks
just a week
ago or
ago.
so, and he explained it to me, and I was like, "Oh, that's actually a very fitting."
I'll let Matt do it.
name.
He does a better job.
Yeah.
Okay. So, for anyone
My
who's a
headphones
Mason,
on.
a datum is a point on a map or any sort of survey, okay, that all points are measured from. Meaning, if you have a sea level, okay, a survey.
Any system of measurement.
Yes. Danny has the very technical issue.
So could that be
Technical,
considered the point within the circle?
No. It's actually, it is Masonic. But what is something that you measure everything off of in Masonry? Think back to your first degree. And anyone could look this up, so it's not something you can't say. But in Masonry, what is something that all things are measured off of in a building?
Oh,
Northeast corner.
Cornerstone.
But what's there? What's there?
Cornerstone. The cornerstone.
The cornerstone of a lodge. So the cornerstone is the standard. It is what everything is measured off of. So a datum is the standard. It is what all grottos should be measured off of.
Ooh, all grottos.
Yes,
says.
all grottos should be measured off of us. Datum grotto, cornerstone grotto. Okay, that's where we came up from that, and that is we should be setting the standard for all grottos around the world. And what you should be when you grotto.
No pressure. No pressure.
No pressure. Right, Danny? The most charismatic grotto in the realm.
The most charismatic. I say
Charismatic,
charismatic. He said charisma. Anyway, Riz God, if you want to
Jeez.
just keep it for short.
Yeah, this is bad.
After hours.
Yeah. Stop.
I'm sorry. It's the bong. We have one over there, too. I want to hit it so bad.
Light it up.
Where's the singing bowls at?
This is actually where our last episode kind of left off. Was we were talking about why Masonic concordant appendant bodies exist. Okay, we brought it up for this reason, and we're all wearing our grotto fezzes right now. Okay, why do grottos exist, Brother John, Brother Jimmy? Brother Jimmy first. Why do you think the grotto exists?
Because Masons just want to have fun.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Fun and fellowship.
Well, I think as our Grotto DD mentioned last meeting, originally all lodges were OM lodges. Originally all lodges back in the late 1800s were observant masonry. So I think they created the grotto as a form of fun and fellowship. So a place where they could just relax and unwind.
Okay. Our current monarch.
Um,
What are you supposed to be doing? What is your job? What is your function exactly?
I'm an ideas guy, not an execution guy.
Yeah, no, that's my job.
Yeah. No.
I want to get to the moon. Okay, no problem. I'll be grumming for
There
you.
you go.
I don't know how to get there, but I want to get there.
Just don't tell me no.
Figure it out.
Figure it out. The grotto, in essence.
Thanks, John F. Kennedy.
So, I've heard that our district deputy for the grotto said that fellowship is the byproduct of Blue Lodge Masonry. It's the purpose of the grotto, and I love that definition because it's true. Us in Suffolk County, in Datum, we have a unique opportunity to really establish our own identity, whether it's invite only, whatever the method, mode, and means is to maintain the membership and gain membership is really ours to create. So with that, we can create, whether it's, our identity is the esoteric nature, the charitable nature, whatever we decide, we have the freedom to come up with that as a group of like-minded individuals. And I feel that the membership that we have now is membership, but I'm sorry, not membership, fellowship. But the fellowship is geared in a way that it is to truly make us better men and Masons. So whether that's honing the ritual work or a book club, for example, some of the subjects that we've touched on is a book club, public speaking. How are we going to make ourselves better for the real world? I wouldn't be so good in the real world, whether it's my job, as a father, as a brother, as a friend. Masonry did a lot for me in honing that. Even just public speaking, being able to carry a conversation, listen with intent, listen to understand, not to respond. So honing those things and just making good men better, I feel like that's the identity of our grotto. And I feel like everybody, as far as our membership, has that same idea, so we'll bulldoze into that. What do you think?
That sounds great.
I pass you the potato.
You hit that on the nail right there. That's the hammer on the nail. He was just hammering. That was great. Yeah, that was great. I think that's right.
That was rambling. I was definitely
But no,
rambling.
It was good. It was a good
Rambling's
eloquent
fun,
rambling. You know?
Sometimes, Matt, you're supposed to tell me stop.
No, I'll let you go on that one. You just go for it, bro.
He was on a soapbox, you know. So it's all good.
Listen, sometimes
No, he
you
did
just
a
gotta
great
get
job.
it out. You
No,
know,
you
like
have
it's
to,
just
you
like
have to.
Sometimes you worry about too much about how you sound and not what you're saying. Right? No?
Yeah. No,
Danny
definitely.
usually shines when we do our like podcasts. If I put a mirror right in front of me, he would be perfect.
That's why he's always trying to catch a glimpse of the camera. He's always,
That's why I have to turn this thing so nobody could see it,
Yeah.
especially Danny, so he can't see nothing. Brother Jonathan,
Yes.
Brother Jimmy,
yes.
concordant bodies. What the fuck are they supposed to do? Our grotto. What are we supposed to do as a grotto? In your mind. Go ahead.
I think the grotto's supposed to put a little funner spin on fellowship. You know, when we have fellowship at the lodge, it's normally like dinner. We're all dressed up. We're all in a suit. Whereas the grotto, we can be a little bit more laxed.
Okay.
Wear a polo, pair of jeans. We
Yeah.
don't have to meet at a lodge. So I mean, it brings a little bit. It's like casual Friday for
Yeah.
masonry.
Dare I say the grotto is supposed to just be fellowship, not 0% charity, not 0% esoteric stuff, because there is a smidge, but it is the majority. It is purpose is fellowship.
Well, even in just being master for the Blue Lodge in this year, I used to think subject range, whether it's charity, whether it's the esoteric nature, whether it's spreading light, whether it's testing. I'm sorry, not testing. Whether it's touching on the majority of the group's interests, right? You try to kind of maneuver within that avenue, but
That's Blue Lodge.
but
But
no,
what is
but-
the grotto supposed to be
But
doing?
hear me out. So fellowship that in any group,
He's on the soapbox again.
yeah, in any group, I've realized that fellowship is the main thing you should touch on, because you want to have like-minded men around you or like-minded people around you. If everybody wants to hang out with each other, then that's the hard part, wanting to dwell in the same room. Once you do that, then you can kind of gear the membership towards whatever subject you want to touch. So the grotto is brothers who are already Masons. That's what you're doing. You're touching on the fellowship. Everybody wants to be together. Everybody can stand each other in the same room. Now we can really do some work.
So my question to you is that's why I'm asking this question. What is the purpose of grotto? The purpose is fellowship. So on that scale of like we said last episode, the scale of 0 to 100, right? Blue Lodge should have pretty much equal all the way around. Fellowship, charitable, and esoteric.
Well,
What is the purpose of fellowship, though? What is the purpose of grotto? In my opinion, the purpose of grotto should be a little bit more fellowship, mainly fellowship, with a little bit of esoteric, a little bit of charitable.
What do you think, Jimmy?
I think
And
we
just
got to go
that's-
to the actual name of it to understand. So, if the name, what is the name of grotto? It's the Mystic Order of the Veiled Prophets of the Enchanted Realm. So, if you just take that name there, well, that name has a lot packed into it. So, yes, it's fellowship, but it's that enchanted realm. This is the type of fellowship that is not done in Blue Lodge. This is the type of fellowship that we take out to different areas. So this is the type of fellowship that should be at a higher degree or octave than regular Blue Lodge fellowship, because this is the grotto. This is the Mystic Order of the Veiled Prophets of the Enchanted Realm. So I'm just gonna say that and let's expand
Leave it
from
for
that.
interpretation.
Yeah,
but I want to hear Jimmy. I want to hear Jimmy.
Go ahead, Jimmy. Go.
So your Blue Lodge has to have all three, because you have to pull the people in and give them the option of, like you said in the last episode, everybody's going to join for their own reason, one of those three. So the Blue Lodge has to have all three.
Mm-hmm.
The concordant bodies allow the grotto to focus on fellowship, which somebody might join a Blue Lodge for fellowship, and maybe they're not getting enough fellowship. Maybe they want to go out with the guys another night of the week with like-minded people.
Mm-hmm.
That allows them to then join the grotto, and that's where they get more fellowship.
Mm-hmm.
So they feel more fulfilled in
Right.
masonry. I feel like the concordant bodies just give everybody a place to go and kind of get more of what they were looking for in masonry.
Right.
Well,
That's
Matt,
kind of
Matt,
that was
Matt,
kind
if
of
I
my
may,
argument.
can I
Was
touch on
yeah.
this?
Go
I'm
ahead.
sorry.
Yeah.
I'm sorry to cut you off. I just want to expand on the outside perception of this. Jimmy has been a member for how long?
A year and call it 4 months now.
Okay, so for the veteran brothers out there that are deep in the concordant bodies, understand the perception that a newer member has on the concordant bodies. That's how we change either the identity or how we kind of bring new brothers in. This is what a new brother's perception is of that concordant body. Mm-hmm. So with that, we can improve, adapt, overcome, and grow the fraternity. Because this, again, this is what you're taking face value.
Yeah.
Go ahead, man.
That's kind of where I was getting at. And Brother Jonathan, you're spot on. Like there is a esoteric, very deep meaning to even the grotto. I'm not saying any organization lacks the esotericness or the knowledge, because Masons, just in the way that they existed, they didn't just create shit out of nothing. Like, that is, excuse my French, we didn't pull stuff out of our ass. Yeah. Like, they spent the time. Our brothers in Hamilton, New York, spent the time to make sure that what they were creating had the esoteric nature and had a meaning behind it. It wasn't just like, all right, this is a drinking club for everybody. They made sure that was there. Yeah. What I'm saying is that that is that shifting percentage of the purpose and what's there. It never goes to zero out of those three topics. Those three topics being, like we've said like a few times now, esoteric, charitable, fellowship. Let's say those are the only three that exist in Masonry, hypothetically, right? Those are the three categories, 33 1/3 of each. Okay? They may shift. None of them go to zero. There is no organization in Masonry that has zero esoteric meaning and 100% charitable organization meaning, or 100%, 50%, 25% charitable, 25% fellowship, and 0% esoteric. Doesn't exist. There's always enough of each existing of any Masonic organization. So I'm not saying that the grotto has no meaning. It does. It 100% has a deep meaning. But the purpose of that specific organization, the reason for its existence is for X, meaning grottos were made as the poor man's shrine, right? Yeah. The shrine has existed for, it was the playground of Masons, okay? There is a deep esoteric meaning. There's a deep ritual. There is a lot to learn there. It exists. It's there. It's there for you to experience and enjoy. But I would say, call it, 60% charitable. 30% fellowship in the shrine, and the rest is esoteric.
When you say poor man's shrine, let's just elaborate on that. Poor man's shrine in regards to when the grotto was created or founded.
Right. We'll go back to 1 second. What I'm kind of saying is the shrine and the grotto were fellowship oriented
and charity
oriented organizations. Grottos were a little bit more fellowship over the charity, tiny bit, like a smidge over the over shrine. Shrine's a smidge more charitable over the fellowship, but more than esoteric. But the esoteric exists in both of those.
Oh yeah, that's definitely. Yeah,
That's what I'm
of course.
trying to say.
That's
Like
the
they're-
subject of masonry.
So, but that's kind of the beauty, right? And that's what we're saying is that masonry has a little bit of what, like, listen, I'm just a smidge more charitable than I am just partying, because I'm just going to call for that what it is. It's hanging out and having a good time.
Right.
I'm just a smidge more fun over. I still want to do charity and I still want to do esoteric, but I just want to have a little bit more fun, sort of like a grotto thing.
Right. I'm not.
And
I'm
or
not,
and it doesn't take away from anyone. It's amazing. I'm a member of both. But Scottish Rite, York Rite, very esoteric. They still have their charity. They have their charities, okay, but very esoteric. They should be more dialed back on the fraternal aspect. It still exists
think
because
so?
it. Yeah, that my point is what they should be, not what they maybe are doing. And,
well,
and
let's establish what they're missing first.
I think they're
What is the York Rite missing based on your experience?
they are doing a better job, in my opinion, recently. The digital degrees need to go away. They need
Wait,
to
York Rite?
both. Well, no, not the York Rite. York Rite, the Scottish Rite, and the York Rite, or let's both of them. Let's call them both. I'm just for the sake of making it easier for people. Both of those, the York Rite and the Scottish Rite, they exist because of the light, the esoteric, the light.
I think the digital degrees might help the York Rite.
I don't. You know what? And you've
What's
always
a
said
digital degree?
The
That's
digital
a good
degree.
question.
The digital degree is a degree that is recorded that brothers can sit and watch,
Like a TV episode.
like a movie, like
Yeah.
an episode. But I think, and you've always said your obligations as a Mason, that stop worrying about the other stuff that your Valley's doing, the other stuff your chapter's doing. The initiatic experience is everything. That is all that matters. The other stuff's important, but if you're dropping the ball on the initiatic experience, whether it's the 4th to the 32nd or the Royal Arch, all those degrees, a cryptic, and if you're dropping the ball on that, you're not doing what you're supposed to be doing, in my opinion.
No, but
Everything
like for-
else
for-
should not matter
Yeah,
if
Jim,
you're
no.
not nailing that. If you're not
This
nailing that.
thing.
I got a question.
Yeah.
Mandingo Mike over here. Sorry.
So-
Sorry.
How are they allowed to record degrees?
That's the Northern Masonic and Southern Masonic jurisdictions, Scottish Rite jurisdictions allow them. They actually produce them.
Yeah, but doesn't that technically go against obligations?
No, it's not.
Of the
No,
first,
no,
second, or
it's
third
yeah.
degree?
They allow that to exist.
Remember,
That's
so
it's very very closely
these-
guarded.
yeah,
It's not
so-
like just out
So
there.
think about it. It's recorded, but again, it's being presented in a tiled medium.
Yeah, yeah.
It's still protected.
It's
in its way.
protected. Yeah,
Okay,
it's not
okay.
just like out there.
And the
It's not
difference-
just like
yeah.
on the internet.
I-
Like
I'd
you can only
rather-
see it when you're sitting there.
I'd
in that
rather
room.
I'd
Oh,
rather
gotcha.
a brother see a recorded degree that's performed in the highest caliber and then explained or interpreted by the brothers than for a brother to read it out of a book.
So you're
But
saying
that's my point. Is that Valley not doing what they're supposed to be doing if they can't do that?
Yeah, but it's membership too. If the Blue Lodge didn't do its job, and I'm sorry, I'm pointing.
Yeah.
I'm pointing this way to the camera. If the Blue Lodge is not vetting its members correctly, and it's doing its just due diligence to keep Masonry alive as far as maintaining assets, whether it's lodge buildings, the inner workings, whatever, you have a responsibility too to produce the highest caliber of members. So I don't want to just bring brothers in because
I'm going to say something very controversial then.
go ahead.
Do we then have an oversaturation of concordant bodies?
No, I think we have an oversaturation of microwave masons.
That's
Yep.
what I'm saying. We have
Microwave
we
masons.
have-
What does
No.
that mean?
No.
It's
Let me
TV
explain
dinners.
what I
It's
mean.
not a-
What I
it's not
mean
a
by an
meal.
oversaturation is,
Oops.
do we then
I'm getting
have
thrown
a
out.
oversaturation of concordant independent bodies?
No.
We have too many chapters. We have too many valleys. We have too many shrines.
I don't think so. I don't
because
think so.
because if they can't do it, I would travel, okay, to Manhattan, let's just hypothetically, an hour to my valley, if I knew I was going to get a stellar, if I had, because remember, a valley covers a geographical area.
Nah, I don't.
If
I
I
don't
said
think
to
so.
me, if you draw a 100-mile circle around my valley,
Yeah.
and I was going to get the best of the ritualists that show up to that valley to give those degrees, I would much rather do that
I want to say
than get
30,
a
but-
digital degree.
But 30% of the brothers,
I'm just
out
because that's
there
their job,
are.
in my opinion.
I want to say so. I can, based on what based on what I've observed, 30% of the brothers out there are Terrys, are Joe Konkluskis. They do the majority of the greater whole. So I don't think the problem is so much being able to go to this lodge, that lodge, distance or whatnot. I think the Blue Lodge has to do a better job of vetting the people they welcome into Masonry. Because you could have a brother come in 2 or 3 years, he's a master Mason, and all of a sudden he's turned off. He's like, I'm not paying my dues. He's dropped NPD. And he has all of our secrets. And he has all of these things. And he's out in the real world. He's making YouTube videos.
So-
That's why Scottish
but
Rite
that's-
doesn't give the degrees out.
Right.
So-
That's my
but-
point.
but
That's
like-
my
like, that's
that's my
washing down
point.
everything
That's my
and-
point. Is
yeah.
like we have an oversaturation then of the appendant bodies. Make it if it's more difficult for you to become a Mason, if we go back to the way it used to be, especially in the Royal Arch, you had to be a past master. Okay, if there should be one chapter for Long Island, one, with
But-
the amount of brothers we have right
Yeah,
now,
but why?
because we right now we don't have the amount of brothers to handle it.
Why? Because if for example, if I'm an upstanding gentleman, I pay my dues, I'm a honorable man, and I walk into a system and I say, wait a minute, I come into this place, I want to be better. I have a conversation and it's not a free thinking conversation, or this guy's very opinionated and he's turned off and I'm talking to his ego, I'm not talking to him, or this guy feels like he just joined Masonry because he wanted the cheap drinks and a good correlation, or it's understanding what it's like to walk into a system saying, I want to be better. Call me out. Constructive criticism is currency. I'm looking for people to say, I know what you represent, and I'm going to help you get there, and vice versa. As opposed to, I just want a title. And I feel like a lot of brothers join Masonry because they're curious, not because they want to execute greatness in their character, and knowing that this is a system that presents that.
Jimmy, Jonathan, what do you think?
So is it more a problem of not vetting them properly, or is it more a problem of not educating them properly?
I think vetting is first, but they're both problems.
Because your microwaved Mason comment, strikes a chord with me
Why?
from what we spoke about earlier,
Elaborate.
and how I think that the education that I went through was cheap and microwaved.
Do you think that you did a good job
I
holding
think-
the
I
lodge
think I-
accountable of, hey, this is what I need. This is what I'm looking for.
How does a brand new person hold somebody accountable in something they don't know?
You have an idea of what Masonry is. So Masonry,
You have an idea of what it is, but how do
who's
you
the most
turn
famous-
around and say, this teaching isn't what you're supposed to be teaching me when I'm a
who's the-
first-degree Mason?
you don't know the subject of what you're trying to learn until it's kind of, I don't want to say taught to you, but because at the end of the day, you have information and interpretation of that information delivery.
Correct.
So you're coming into it curious, because I know you're one of the brothers that you probably did your first, second, third degree, and you didn't look anything up on the internet because
No.
you wanted to be surprised.
Yeah, I didn't look
Yeah, I'm
anything
the
up.
same way. You have other brothers who look at everything and they're getting things from Duncan's Ritual or YouTube or TikTok, and I want to do all the research, and this is not what I expected, and they're doing it for the wrong reasons.
But perfect.
But if I could just finish this thought, the new brothers have to call out the old brothers, the people who are the foundation of the lodge, and say, well, I shouldn't say foundation, the identity of the lodge. And you have to say, hey, I joined this because I wanted the esoteric knowledge. And in doing that, the identity kind of swivels. Because like for me, I became master. I have the same benefits as anybody else in the lodge. But as a master, you're there to serve the membership. So I wanted to be the master that I needed as an entered apprentice.
Yeah, but some people are meek and quiet and aren't gonna go that route. They're not gonna say, you know what I mean?
But if you're gonna be the same person in every system, that's not growth.
Well, absolutely. But
Jonathan, let me ask you though.
Wait. Let Jimmy finish that.
I mean, we don't want to like argue over this, but
it's not argue. It's debate. This is masonry.
Yeah. But what do you think, Jonathan? Like,
I think you gotta understand this
because you're kind of in between the two of us, like the amount of time
Yeah.
we've been in. So you're like in the middle between all of us here.
I think you have to understand that there's some brothers, that join. Everyone joins for different reasons, right? But there's some brothers that are joining, and they're here to be on the sidelines, like and you need those sideline brothers. You need those brothers that are there to support. They might not want to, take part in ritual. They might not want to take a chair, but we do need that support.
But which is fine. But again, they are dues-paying members. How do I incorporate them, or how do I continue to feed into their interests? Because yes, they are needed, but if they're not going to speak up and say, this is what I get out of it, like they're not just there for participation. There's something that they get out of it, and I want to enhance that experience as much as possible. Because you do have the sideliners, and when I say sideliners, there are brothers who come to to a Masonic meeting, and they're off to the side. They really don't have any requests. They don't have any needs to be fulfilled. They're just there to participate. And there's something that they get out of that, because nobody's just there to just be there. But how do you speak to them without speaking to them? Like, understanding somebody's silence is a beautiful thing, because if they're not talking to you, they're talking to themselves. I still want to be part of that conversation.
I think you have to talk to them. I think sometimes, like, you have to go out of your way to have conversations like this. So what I'm saying is, what I was getting at, the brothers that are here to be leaders and that are here to go through the line, to here to be ritualists, it's your task as a leader or as a future leader of a lodge to talk to these brothers, to talk to every brother, to get to know them. There's brothers that are there all the time. They're sideliners. They're showing support. That sometimes just they want to be heard, but they're never going to be heard if you don't, give them that ear. If you don't talk to them, how's it going? What have you been getting out of masonry? What have you been looking at masonry? So you could help them to direct them in the right path. So I think that it's on the brothers who are in masonry as the leaders and have, their goal is to be in the East, to educate and just to really get to know the brothers on the sides and to get to know the whole brothers in all concordant bodies and their blue lodges, to really be able to provide them on their expectations.
I want to touch back to Jimmy real quick. I'm sorry, Matt. You're the youngest Mason here. How could your worshipful master serve you better as a member? What are you looking for?
I don't necessarily think it's how does my worshipful master serve me better, but I do think there should be a third degree education just from the lodge. Because, all right, I'm a master mason. I'll tell you right now, I cannot read my book from front to back. I can't. Because the education, we were taught certain parts that we just had to memorize, and that was it. You need to memorize this to get to your next degree, and that's it. So,
That's perfect, dude.
So, like, how do I...
why?
Perfection.
You know why? Do you know why?
Why?
Is you literally took the first through the 11th grade, and Blue Lodges dropped the ball on your 12th grade. That's what we've been trying to say from the beginning here, right? Every organization has their purpose. They have their meaning, they have their purpose, okay? But if your Blue Lodge doesn't give you your first grade through your 12th grade, Okay, the most basic stuff you're supposed to know. How are you supposed to then go to college if you don't know how to add or subtract?
How are you supposed to move to the concordant bodies and know where you want to go?
Exactly. And same thing, like I went to college. I want to join a fraternity. I'm going to join the Grotto. I'm going to join a fraternity in college. I'm still going to learn some cool shit, but I'm going to have fun doing it. Or I'm going to join the shrine. Or I'm going to join a little bit more esoteric stuff. I'm going to join a Bible study group, or I'm going to join, like, that's kind of like where I'm trying to like push this entire conversation, is saying that like every part of Masonry has its purpose, but I feel like we forget. We just replicate the same thing because it's easy. It's easy to replicate a Blue Lodge and say, this is what we're going to do in a Blue Lodge, and we're just going to just do it wearing fezzes now. We're going to do it wearing a red apron or a red jacket. We're going to do it wearing a flat hat. We're going to do it whatever the hell we're going to do. We're just going to just do the same thing wearing something else.
Just a little different.
Yeah, it's not even a little different. It's just, I'm going to do this. I'm just going to do it wearing a bathing suit. I'm going to do it wearing a tank top. Like, it's the same brothers.
Doing the same hard work.
All right, we're going to do the same exact stuff as Blue Lodge, except we're going to do it in sandals today.
Yeah, it's themed.
So,
You know, and that's not what Masonry is supposed to be. Every piece of Masonry, and Brother Jonathan, like the esotericness that you have gotten yourself into in Masonry,
That's
and
next episode.
Yeah, it's outside of
episode.
episode, slightly outside of Masonry, like on the fringes of just kind of like tickling Masonry around it, you know.
I think it's a good segue to touch on that.
It's
real quick.
It is important that esoteric part of Masonry, each of those, you can't say there's a, and I know if you've read stuff, there's no singular answer or singular like catch-all of any part of any esoteric light that you've ever read that says there's a master key that gives you the answer to everything.
Everything's interpretation, right?
Right, but there's no like, this is it. If
This
you
is what
have,
it is,
If you
right.
have this one little fucking answer, you're done. There's not, you know.
No, I know nothing. That's how I'm always able to learn, because I know nothing.
Right, but that's
Just
my
stay
point. Is
open-minded
there
enough to learn.
you can't join any part of Masonry or even around that and say, well, if all you had to do is just join that one organization, you're done. You don't
No way.
you know everything. Like it doesn't work like that.
Nope.
So to say that any concordant or pendant body will fully fulfill you as a Mason is silly. Whether it's a grotto, a shrine, the York Rite, the Scottish Rite, the Jesters, you know, any invited to, not invited to, a pendant, you know,
You got to be
united
full
a
within
pendant
yourself,
body,
right?
united allied bodies, or whatever whacked out, like, you know, like organization you could possibly imagine that does exist. You know, they don't give you the answer to everything. It is a never-ending learning process of trying to take all of that and say, how do I make it all fit as a jigsaw puzzle? And you're still never going to be perfect when you're done. You're just never going to be there.
Drop the mic.
So that's just how I look at it.
Very good.
It's like learning to ride a bike. You know, you could have training wheels on for so long, but then eventually you take the training wheels off. Eventually you have to pedal yourself. Eventually you have to ride the bike yourself. So
Let's get to the after hours.
But
Let's do after hours.
Danny wants to do an after hours.
after hours.
We'll do a quick after hours. Thank you, brothers, again. Brother Jonathan, you are an esoteric master. I know you
I
are.
wish.
You are itching to get deep. We're going to get deep soon in the next episode of the Fourth
my
Pop
swimmies
Podcast.
on.
Danny's train wreck.
No,
It's not really
stop.
an esoteric.
You got
it's
your
more
rubber
like
ducky over there?
like a
not
train
yet.
crashing into a
We're in the
dumpster
pool,
fire.
none in the tub.
2 episodes ago, you
Again.
said you bring the life jackets, so you're good.
Brothers, friends, companions, prophets, nobles, and just friends of the craft. Thank you all, and
Safe travels.
safe travels. Like and subscribe. We appreciate you all. Have a good night.